Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is American Baptist College and the Civil Rights Movement. And we're fortunate to have with us this morning to talk about American Baptist College and the Civil Rights Movement, the president of American Baptist College, Dr. Forrest Harris. And of course, Dr. Harris, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Glad to be here.
And again, Dr. Harris, to talk about what I consider to be a very, very important topic, and that is American Baptist College and the Civil Rights Movement.
Yes.
And I would believe, as the president of American Baptist College and as a person who has been involved in the Civil Rights Movement for a long time yourself, I would imagine you would be able to give us quite a bit of information. And let's start off by first having you to give us some information about Dr. Forrest Harris, before he became Dr. Forrest Harris, and some information about your background, education, and things that eventually led you to the presidency of American Baptist College, and then we'll talk about some other areas.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and before there was Dr. Forrest Harris, I guess I must say there were my parents.
Okay.
In Memphis, Tennessee, Shelby County. I was born and raised there, 9 other sisters and brothers, and we all felt in Shelby County and Memphis in those days the segregation of that culture in that time. I was educated in the Memphis school system, graduated from Woodstock High School, left Memphis and went to Knoxville College in East Tennessee, and graduated from Knoxville College with a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology and psychology. And then I ended up being an employee of the federal government in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, just down from Knoxville, as a federal compliance officer with the Energy Research and Development Administration. Spent 9 years there as a compliance officer doing what we call government contractor-owned compliance reviews, making sure that there was parity and equal employment and opportunity of government contracted facilities. And it was a rewarding job. And then I felt the urgency of the church calling, God calling on my life as it relates to the ministry, and it became clear to me that I was being called into the ministry to devote my life to it. They would say from the black church, the church had marked me.
Okay, very good.
And particularly the minister of my childhood, Reverend Brady Johnson, 40 years, marked me in a way that I was always fascinated with the pulpit and the preaching and what the preaching meant for us. And so I gave my life totally to that and came to Nashville to prepare for the ministry. And my first stop was American Baptist College. And I spent 1.5 years there retooling. I had already had a BA degree from Knoxville College, but I felt a need to retool. And I had heard and met some of the graduates of American Baptist College, and they were very impressive pulpiteers and with scholarly depth and as well as charismatic appeal. And I was really impressed with them and their message, and I decided to come to American Baptist College, and glad I did. When I was there for that 1.5 years, I was under the tutelage of people like Dr. Nehemiah Douglas, Dr. Don McCoy, who was still at the college, Dr. Richard Lucas, both of them still at the college, and had an indelible impact upon my development in theological education. And then I left there and went to Vanderbilt and spent the rest of my academic training at Vanderbilt getting the Masters of Divinity and the Doctor of Ministry degrees. So I've been exposed now to theological education in the realm of training for a number of years. After I graduated from Vanderbilt Divinity School, I was pastoring Oak Valley Baptist Church in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Then Vanderbilt asked me to come here to coordinate, at the time, the Kelly Middlesmith Institute on the Black Church. I coordinated it for 1 year, and then they asked me to be the director of it full time. And I've been director of the Kelly Middlesmith Institute on the Black Church at Vanderbilt for the last 11 years. And as a result of that, exposed to theological education and the ministry in the Black church tradition. And that's, I think, kind of prepared me for the role at American Baptist College.
You know, American Baptist College is a very, very significant organization, and especially during the Civil Rights Movement. But let's talk about the institution itself. Give us a little information about the history. Now, I hate to raise this question, Dr. Harris, because we'll be coming up to our commercial break, but let's start that and then we'll continue it after the break. But let's start it off.
Well, American Baptist College is one of the historic institutions of the black church community and college community in higher education. It has a rich heritage. It was founded in 1924, a joint venture between the National Baptists and Southern Baptists as a collaborative to train ministers to serve churches in the black community. And that collaborative between the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated and Southern Baptist continued for many years and developed a rich campus life and academic training for ministers. Recently, in the last several years, Southern Baptist no longer is a part of that partnership, and now the school is fully supported by the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated. But American Baptist College's richest heritage is its association with the civil rights movement in terms of its student leadership that came out of the school. John Lewis, congressman now in Georgia, was one of our graduates, as well as C.T. Vivian and many other social activists. Dr. Riggins R. Earl, who is professor of Christian ethics at ITC in Atlanta. We have produced a number of graduates who, at the time of the civil rights movement, were a part of the student sit-in movement and gave critical leadership to it. And as a result, the school has made a profound contribution to Nashville and to the nation and to the world, because it continues to be a symbol of what Dr. King was talking about when he was talking about nonviolence and the achievement of social justice. But American Baptist College is committed to theological and biblical training, theological education and biblical studies for preparing leaders to serve the churches in our communities.
You know, I've heard, if we're not interrupted by our commercial break, that there are quite a number of ministers in various pulpits around Nashville and these areas that are from American Baptist College.
That's right. Around the country, there are not many municipalities or cities where you will not find a graduate from American Baptist College giving leadership to their community through the church. And some of the larger churches and some of the most significant churches in ministry are pastored by American Baptist College graduates. We have a lot of graduates throughout, and here in Nashville particularly, many of the pulpits are filled with persons who went to American Baptist College, and not only the pastors, but we have a whole lot of lay leaders and other people who have attended American Baptist College that have given significant leadership in our community.
You mean when you say lay leaders, these are the folks who might come to American Baptist College, but who themselves will not be preaching, missionary workers and et cetera?
Exactly. We have now persons who write religious literature. We have chaplaincies that people have gone into after graduating from our college. And we have people giving leadership to agencies in the community that have a social purpose and faith perspective. So we're preparing people for leadership at the school that go beyond the pulpit and leadership, but leadership in the community as a whole.
That's what, I think that's what I wanted to make sure that we understood, because generally when people think in terms of American Baptist College, they think only in terms of making preparation to teach, to preach.
Right.
If you wanted to, for example, become involved in some of these other areas, you also said that this is a viable institution for that.
Viable institution for that. We have a solid record of producing that kind of leadership and tooling people to do that. And I'm an example of that myself as a graduate of the school, to be able to go into theological education at the graduate level at Vanderbilt and teach there and direct the institute. I got my start in my beginning at American Baptist College as I came there to retool. So there are many other persons who have found a diversity of careers around religious education and involvement in social agencies and Christian institutions that we can train people for.
You know, Dr. Harris, we're coming up to our first commercial break for today. But when we come back during the second segment, I want to move into the topic today, and that is American Baptist College and the Civil Rights Movement.
Yes.
And what I'd like for you to do here is to be reminded that there are so many young people today who really don't have any understanding of what the Civil Rights Movement was against in the real sense, that is something about segregation. And so when we come back, I want you to use part of this time to talk about the separation of the races in the southern parts of the United States and what eventually created the situation for the movement. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this short commercial break. Of the show for today.